Hello and welcome back to the final week of our prehistoric journey.
We made it.
We made it. We thank you all for heading on this little journey with us.
Yeah.
Who came off of our around the world journey, who decided to go back in time with the boozes. We had a great time. We hope you enjoyed these videos. If you have a chance, head down and hit subscribe. Check out our podcast as well. We'll have a couple videos coming out after this about kind of like, the spines we want, the books that we like the most.
Yeah, and if you don't want to do this combo of Blossom Root and Build Your Library, which would we recommend you do if you're only going to do one?
Yep.
And what we would do next time. We do plan to do this again when our youngest daughter is in first grade. So kind of what we wish we knew before starting. So we got a couple of videos coming, so stay tuned.
Absolutely. So let's get into what we talked about. So this week was about kind of the rise of humankind. We felt that this was kind of a light week. It kind of rehashed a lot of things that we had already done. So we recommend that if you're coming up to this week, or if you're doing your planning, think about taking this and maybe sprinkling it through the last couple weeks, and you may not have to do this week at all.
This is the last week of Blossom and Root, and I think because we've done 3 weeks of Build Your Library that's covered these topics already, this is kind of, it's a redo.
Yep.
And so we think you could totally skip this and just do this in 15 units, but again, you would have to take some of it and move it along. So half the week was about humans, and then the other half was like a rehashing of fossils, which I thought was kind of, our daughter was kind of like,
I don't want to go back to that, guys.
We've done fossils. We did a lot of fossils
so
over and over again. So
so the thing that I kind of focused on heavily this week was just continuing the story. Early human civilization, talking about the difference between hunter-gatherers and farmers. I had like a long, about hour-long discussion. The little one was at a preschool. We had an off day at the parent partnership. So we were home together, and we just had a long discussion about farming, the rise of farming, hunter-gatherers, the differences between them, why one would choose to go one way, why would one would stay, that type of exploration. That was kind of what we focused on this week. That was, I felt like that just continued the story, and that would be putting us right at the beginning of early civilizations. We read a couple books that talked about the Fertile Crescent, and that's kind of like springboard right into the next curriculum that we're about to start. So I felt like it was just a natural evolution.
But you definitely could have skipped this week and put that information into the previous weeks with Build Your Library.
So we'll start off with Life Through Time. So right at the end of this book,
we've used this all the way along, but the very last spread is all about farming. So
the first so they do have a section on the Ice Age. So
so that's a few weeks back.
That was a few weeks back, and then the first farmers here. And so wonderful, nice spread about early farming, a simple little village, kind of what life was. And this will play into kind of the activity that I did with my daughter at the end. We'll discuss, but a wonderful spread like this was really interesting to her and gave her a lot of ideas for the project that we'll talk about here at the end of this episode. But Life Through Time, this has been a wonderful book.
This is really good.
We recommend, I would recommend buying this one because it's something you're going to come back to every single week, and it gives you so many wonderful pictures. It's so beautiful. There's so much to explore. I really liked it. It was something we always kept coming back to.
So this was a good one to use.
And then because the last few weeks we've been talking about books that we're going to use going forward. A Street Through Time.
I love all these through times. We did the Child Through Time we talked about a little while ago with their Street Through Time. There's also a City Through Time that starts in ancient Greece, so it doesn't go all the way back to prehistory. But this one, the Street Through Time,
starts on the start in the Stone Age.
Yeah.
And then what will happen is basically it's the same street as time goes by. So you have early, rise of kind of early farming.
And there's little tags on all of these different parts.
And then you can see it kind of gets into kind of an early settlement, Iron Age, 600 BCE. So you can see it's going forward in time, and obviously eventually gets into medieval times, I believe.
Yeah. And it's going to go all the way. One of the things that this is the street today. And then it has a future street.
Yep.
One of the things that both the final week of Build Your Library and the final week of Blossom Root asked our children to do is to think into the future, knowing where we came from. Where do you think we might go in the future? So this was a really fun book because she could just kind of flip through and get almost a preview of what we're going to be doing in the next few years and look at the future too of what could be. So that was really fun.
Again, both of these books fed into the activity that I had to do at the end.
These are great.
little book called Fossil. So this was this a recommended book or?
Yes, this was a recommended book, and this has got no words.
Has no words. So if you want,
so this is a cool one if you want to give something to your learner for them to just sit down and absorb.
It's a story of a young boy who's finding fossils on the beach, and every time he finds one of the fossils, that fossil of that creature comes to life. And so one of them is a fern, and the next one would be it was this big dragonfly. Let me see if I can hop through it. It gets to the dragonfly, but then eventually he finds a dinosaur bone, and it's a pterodon. And the pterodon abducts his dog and starts flying through the sky. And let's see, did I jump through it? Yeah, there it is.
Eventually he breaks it.
And then he eventually finds that if he breaks the fossil, which I don't know if we want to encourage that, but he breaks the fossil, that creature goes away. And so it was just kind of a fun little book. It was a book that I had to like ask my daughter a lot of questions through reading it, because there was no words. So I was like, oh, what do you think's happening here? Oh, I think that dog. I go, does that dog look scared on the back of that pteranodon? She goes, no, he looks like he's having a good time. So it was kind of fun. It was a fun little book.
So you could move this one much earlier, right at the beginning of this whole study. We did a big section talking about fossils. So if you like the sound of this, you can move it to then.
Or bring it into the pterodon. I think there's a dedicated pterodon section. I think that was part of Blossom and Root. So you can
there's a pterosaur week, right?
Pterosaur, yep. Stone Girl, Bone Girl.
This is a story of Mary Anning, a girl who started collecting fossils, and she discovered an ichthyosaurus. This is told really well. One of the things I like about this book is it's all completely about her childhood. Obviously, she had a life of collecting fossils and things, but this only talked about how she got started as a child. And so I think that's really good. It's a little bit word heavy. If you have a younger learner, this one might not be the best because there's a lot of words here. But it was fine. It was good. I think it would be great. Again, moved early when you do fossils at the beginning. I would do this one. Our daughter in general didn't really enjoy the cycling back to fossils after this many weeks. We were excited to be in humans, excited to talk about the future. Now let's go back to fossils. She was kind of not digging that.
Digging up dinosaurs, speaking of fossils.
This is okay. I didn't love this book. It's one of the recommended ones. I didn't love it. I feel like it's a poorer version of a Magic School Bus because it has a bunch of captions and stuff, but they're not all that engaging and interesting. And this one's kind of like a little bit of a snooze, so I would probably not recommend that one.
Put that one in the snooze pile.
Yes.
Fossils, a tale of long ago.
I think this one's okay, especially if you have a younger learner. This one is probably a good one because it's pretty simply told. It's probably a good one to get from your library, again, at the beginning of this study, because it talks about how a fossil is made, and it does it in really simple terms. Where this book is a little bit higher level, and so got a little boring. This one's just very simple. So if you're doing this with a first grader, I think that this book is great to get at the beginning to kind of introduce the idea of fossils, because there's lots of good pictures and it's low word count. So I think that that's really good about it. I certainly wouldn't do it at the end though. I'm definitely not. I'm team. Skip the fossils in this last module, Blossom and Root.
Yes.
Why go back?
Well, continuing with the Blossom and Root, they obviously always recommend a lot of Eon's videos. We watched how DNA is pulled from fossils. That was really cool to watch. Kind of dovetailed with the First Peoples documentary that we recommended on the last episode, where they did the same DNA examination. So it was cool to be able to go into depth about that. That was really fun. Movie, we watched Early Man.
So it's from the studio that did Wallace and Gromit, and I'm generally very down for a Wallace and Gromit movie.
Animation, all the stuff.
It's all the the gags and stuff, physical gags and things, and I think that stuff's really fun. This one for me landed very flat.
Well, and even our daughters, they weren't laughing out loud.
Yeah, our kids didn't even think it was very funny. Everything we read about it has like an 80% tomato rating, said that it was a very charming movie and it was a winner. It's very clever, and it's basically it's a tale. It's a fictional tale, as if soccer was created by prehistoric man, and they played against Bronze Age men in a soccer match.
Stone Age, Bronze Age.
I did not think it was good. So if you see that one, watch at your own risk, because I thought it was kind of boring and I fell asleep for part of it. So, and our kids didn't really laugh at it.
But was it a Werner Herzog sleep?
No, it wasn't. But it just, I just wanted.
They now know your
I
weakness.
barely smiled at it. It was just not.
There were a couple of funny scenes. The
was a
instant
couple-
replay scenes were pretty funny.
There was a couple of like funny things, but it wasn't enough to watch this whole movie. So
the hog turning the dripping off.
I was pretty excited about a movie about prehistoric man that was done in stop motion animation. Man, it fell flat.
Yep, fell flat for us. So just
wasn't our cup of tea.
We were trying to find stuff for you guys.
I know. We try. Not everything's a winner.
The activity this week, I tried to go digital. There's a wonderful app called the Pocket Build app. I got it on her Android tablet right here in front of us. And I challenged. So basically, it's a kind of Minecraft, but not Minecraft. It's more like I can draw. You can create a landscape. You can choose what type of land you want it to be. You can put little houses and animals and people, and you're kind of building this world.
You build stone walls
and stuff, and then you can also go into the characters, first person view and drive them around the world. I challenged my daughter by looking at a street through time and a life through time. I said, "Hey, go build an early farming village," and she was like, "Okay."
Oh yeah,
and
she was very excited.
She was very.
So there's no game to play with it.
Gaming.
It's just
building.
It's just building. There's no other interactions. There's no other multiplayer or anything like that.
What's cool is everything. They have all the. It's not very limited. It's very expansive. You can choose like a million different things, and they actually go through kind of ancient history into modern times. So you could really see doing this in like the ancient history curriculum as well. But I wanted her to do a farming village so you could drop little chickens and little things. So she really enjoyed. She loved doing it. Spent about 2 hours just sitting there building it. And there's all these different widgets you can do on the different buildings and say, oh, I want to spin it. I want to make it tall. I want to have a mountain here. It was a lot of fun. She enjoyed the heck out of it. And I did the specific challenge where I opened up Life of Time, Street Through Time. And I said, okay, here are examples of it. Can you make something like this? And she did. She had a great time.
It was kind of a fun, different challenge for her and something for her to do while she's listening to her audiobooks, which she loves to do every day.
Yeah, so I took her out of the Legos and I put her into the digital Legos, and she had a blast. So,
yeah, she really enjoyed it.
Ariel, that's it. We're done. Now we're not done with our real-time homeschool education vlog. We are going to continue. We'll have a couple more videos coming out about, in general, the prehistory guide.
Yeah,
wrapping up the prehistory curriculum. We will start going into our ancient history, which will be fun. We are looking forward to it.
Yeah, we're really looking forward to it. So we're doing what I'm going to call Build Your Library 1 Plus, which is going to be Build Your Library Level 1 with, of course, more books and more media because we can't stop ourselves because that's just how we roll. And of course, we'll do this again and we'll talk you through ancient history. And we appreciate you all coming on this journey with us.
Hit subscribe. Hit the like button. Hit the notification bell so that you know when our next videos are coming out. Our podcasts are always released on YouTube, but if you listen to podcasts on your phone or you like to listen to on a device of your choosing, like Spotify and things like that, go ahead and subscribe over there as well. We're available on all the platforms. And tell your friends.
Yeah, tell your friends and support the podcast. We've got affiliate links. Even if you don't want one of these books, but you want another book, click on one of those and we get a few cents and it helps to support our show. And we have a Gumroad support.
Cha-ching, I just heard someone support the podcast.
And we have a Gumroad support too. If these videos have been really helpful to you, then buy us a cup of coffee, help keep the show going. We appreciate you. We want to keep this all...
Diet Coke, caffeine free.
We want to keep this all ad free. That's our goal. Thank you very much, and we'll see you for the wrap-up videos.